Pierogi Joe here with another recipe, and we have our soup stock pot, and yes, that means soup. Well, where's the soup? We're going to make the soup, but also we're going to use our saute pan. Today we're making Zupa Grzybowy, mushroom soup. Now, I had a lot of mushroom soup when I was living in Poland because every time it rained, especially for a few days, everyone went out and picked mushrooms, and then we'd have these wild mushroom soups. It was flowing like the rivers. There's quite a bit of ingredients, but nothing to worry about. We can do this. So, what do we got here? We have 3 cups of wild mushrooms. Of course, they're reconstituted. And when you get done with reconstituting them, save the juice because we have 2 liters of stock, and it's 1 liter of mushroom stock, and it's 1 liter of vegetable stock. Okay, we have 1 onion, chopped up, not too fine, not too coarse, but just in the middle. All right, we have a couple tablespoons of vegetable oil. We have 2 tablespoons of butter. We have 3 lisztorowy. We have 3 bay leaves and a half teaspoon of ground allspice. Those are the Polish spices in soups and in a lot of foods is your bay leaf and your allspice. All right, yeah, your allspice. I have 2 carrots shredded. Now, I leave the skins on because that's the nutrition. Just scrub them off with a brush. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not waxed like a lot of other of our fruits. I have 1 parsnip. Again, not peeled, just scrubbed and grated. It's going to be perfect in that soup. I have 5 potatoes peeled, not cooked, and not too coarse, not too fine. I mentioned the 2 liters of broth. I have 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh dill. I have 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped parsley. And I'm going to have, I have a half a cup of sour cream and 6 ounces of heavy whipping cream because normally in Polish soups, there's something called śmietana do zupy, which means like sour cream for soup, and it's a lot less thicker than our sour cream. It's more liquidy, and we're going to make our own by mixing up the half cup sour cream and the heavy cream because you want a little bit of that sourness. You want that sour cream-ish. And then we have some salt and pepper to taste. Well, there's our ingredients, and here's your ingredient list. First things first, we turn the heat on our saute pan, the big one, and we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of oil, and we're going to sweat out and soften up the onions just a little bit. While we're waiting for that pan to heat up, we're going to turn on our stock pot heat, okay? And because what we're going to do is we're going to add that 2 liters of half vegetable stock and half mushroom stock, which was left over from reconstituting the mushrooms. If you can't, if you're not going to use, or if you're going to use fresh mushrooms, that's fantastic. If you're not going to reconstitute and have mushroom stock, you can find some really good mushroom stocks in your restaurant stores, your restaurant supply shops. I encourage using those rather than ones from the store. There's a lot of crap in them, a lot of artificial flavors, but try to go to the restaurant supplies and get your stock if you need to. So we're grabbing our stock, we're going to put it in our pot. We're going to let that heat up because we're going to add, after we start sauteing the vegetables and such, we're going to add it to there, and we want to have that stock to be warm. As I said about that sour cream, usually there's like a śmietanka 18% sour cream, and they don't have the thick sour cream like we have. Theirs is a lot thinner, especially for soup, use like an 18%, and so, having problems opening up this carton. I just ripped it up with my thumbs. So I took that half cup of regular old-fashioned style sour cream and mixed a 6 ounces of heavy whipping cream, and we're gonna mix that together, making that consistency that we would get in the Polish stores, okay? It'll be like a cream for soup is what it means. But we want that soury taste. We want that sour cream type taste, which, as you know, sour cream goes in a lot of things, especially soups and sauces. All right, so we whisk that together. And there it is. It looks very much like 18% that you're gonna get in the grocery stores in Poland. And our pot is hot. Or a pan, so we're going to put a couple of tablespoons of the oil in there and get ready for the onions. All right, that oil is ready. I did dump a little bit out. I put a little bit too much in there, so I made it more like a reasonable. So we put those onions in, and we're gonna sweat those out a little bit. And as always, we toss them around and get them all coated. We're gonna sweat those out for, I don't know, a few minutes, 3-4 minutes. I'll let you know in a second just how long that takes. Onions have been on about 2 minutes, and of course we want to keep stirring them. Okay. They're getting a little bit opaque, a little transparent. I think about 2 or 3 more minutes. Those onions have been sauteing for about 5 minutes, and they're just starting to smell. They're just starting to get soft. That's wonderful. So now we're going to add our garlic, the parsnip, and our grated carrot. Now, why we're doing this is we're making those flavors come out, okay? And we're gonna coat it with our oil and the onion water that's now in there. Okay, we're making those flavors come out. The same way you can maybe, sometimes you cook like rice or grains, those flavors come out. We make those sugars, those flavors come out. And that's what we're gonna do it. That's what we're doing here. We're gonna do that for about 3 to 4 minutes. Remember our stock pot that has our broth? It's starting to get a little boily. So what we're going to do is we're going to add those allspice and the bay leaves in there. Okay, we're going to add our spices. All right. We're still tossing our garlic, onions, parsnip, and carrot. A few more minutes. It's been about 4 minutes, and you can smell the parsnip and that carrot starting to emit a little bit of, it smells a little bit sweet. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add that 2 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna let that butter melt. And then when that butter melts, we're going to add those potatoes and saute those potatoes. Butter melted, smelling good. Now it's time for the potatoes. Let's put those potatoes in. Again, toss them around. Let's get them coated in all the sugary juices of the parsnip and the carrot and that butter. And we're going to let that go for about 3 to 4 minutes. It is cooking. Those potatoes and the veggies are all sauteing together. All right. Going to keep going a few more minutes. Really cool. We're sauteing those about another minute, and it smells pumpkin-y. It's that carrot, the parsnip, and those potatoes, you know, garlic and butter, but it's starting in onions, and it's starting to smell like kind of pumpkin-y is the best way I could describe it. So about another minute. Okay, it's been about 3 to 4 minutes. Our stock with the bay leaf and the allspice are nice and hot. We have this wonderful mixture of vegetables all sauteed up, and we're going to add it to our stock pot. Of course, this little mess coming off. That's cooking, baby. Turn the heat off. Okay. And we're going to turn it up, and we're going to let it boil for 10 minutes. We want to get that boil for 10 minutes. Timer is telling us it's done, so we now take that boiling stock and we add our mushrooms. And we now boil that for 10 more minutes, allowing those mushrooms to get nice and soft and everything start melting together. See you in 10. Guess who showed up? Trusty the wooden spoon. Hey, Trusty. All right, we're going to stir that up while we cook that for 10 minutes. You see already it's looking nice, isn't that? Potatoes and carrots, parsnips, spices, herbs, and those mushrooms. Beautiful. Timer says it's time. It's been about 10 minutes, and as you see, everything is boiling. What we're going to do now is first we're going to reduce the heat, bring it down to a simmering level. We're going to add our fresh dill and our fresh parsley. Again, very earthy flavors. The dill is, of course, very dillish, but the parsley adds a nice green type flavor in it. We're going to stir that up. And when it leaves its boil, when that boil gets away, we're going to add our cream. But in the meantime, we're going to add our pepper. Of course, the taste, right? We're going to add our salt. Of course, remember, not too much of the sea salt because you can't take it out, but you could always add it up. Okay? And let it come to more of a simmer. Thank you, trusty spoon. Trusty the wooden spoon. Okay, let it simmer out a little bit, and we'll add our cream. Now, before we add our cream, we are going to temper it a little bit. Let me show you how. So what we're going to do first, as we are letting our mixture come to a little saute versus boil, we're going to put a couple of scoops of just the juice. Try not to get as much many vegetables in it. We're going to put it in, and we're going to temper that cream so that it doesn't curl or curdle in the soup. Okay. All right. And now we're going to add that cream. It's not going to curdle. Actually, some of it's stuck to the bottom of the bowl, so we're going to take a little more liquid. I'm going to get it out of the bottom there. There we go. All right. And take a look. We have our cream. Our vegetables. We almost have a completed Zupa Grzybowy mushroom soup. We're going to let that saute for about 10 minutes with the lid on. Let those flavors merge, those new herbs and spices merge in there. Timer says it's done. Zupa Grzybowy is done. Here we go. All right, we're going to ladle some out. I can smell it. It's creamy. It's sweet. It's savory. You can smell those mushrooms in it. Okay, here we go. Oh, so beautiful. There we go. And a little parsley garnish. And there you have it. Zupa Grzybowy mushroom soup. Look at that. It smells good. And I know it. Let me taste it. God, is that great. Hey, folks, if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. And let me know what you think, what you want to add, what's different, maybe what your grandma did. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your attention. And one more thing. Smacznego!